Abraham's journey, the promise of a nation. Once upon a time, in the ancient land of Mesopotamia, there lived a man named Abram. Abram was a faithful man who loved and trusted God with all his heart. One day, God spoke to Abram and made him a special promise. "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household and go to the land I will show you," God said. "I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." Abram trusted God completely, so he packed up all his belongings. He took his wife, Sarai, his nephew, Lot, and all their servants and animals. They began their long journey to a new land, guided only by their faith in God's promise. As they traveled, they faced many challenges. The road was long and difficult, but Abram and his family trusted that God would lead them to the promised land. They traveled through deserts, where the sun blazed hot and water was scarce. Abram reminded everyone to trust in God's promise and to keep moving forward. They crossed wide rivers, where they had to carefully guide their animals and carry their belongings across the rushing water. Sometimes they built rafts. Other times, they found shallow places to ford. It was tough, but they managed, always feeling God's presence with them. They climbed high mountains, where the paths were steep and the air was thin. Each step was a struggle, but Abram knew that they were on a journey led by God. Whenever they felt discouraged, Abram gathered his family and prayed, asking God for strength and guidance. One night, after a long day of traveling, Abram set up camp. As he sat by the fire, God spoke to him again. "Look up at the sky and count the stars. If indeed you can count them," God said, "so shall your offspring be." Abram looked up at the countless stars shining brightly in the night sky. He believed God's promise that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars. This promise gave him hope and strength to continue their journey. Finally, after many years of traveling, God led Abram to the land of Canaan. There, God spoke to Abram once more. "To your descendants, I will give this land," he said. Abram built an altar there to honor God and to thank him for his promise. But God's promise did not end there. Even though Abram and Sarai were very old and had no children, God promised them a son. They waited patiently, and one day, God fulfilled his promise. Sarai gave birth to a baby boy named Isaac, bringing great joy to Abram and Sarai. God also changed Abram's name to Abraham, meaning father of many, and Sarai's name to Sarah, meaning princess. This was a sign of the great future God had planned for them and their descendants. Abraham's journey was a testament to his faith and trust in God. He believed in God's promise, even when it seemed impossible. And through Abraham, God began to fulfill his promise of creating a great nation. Isaac grew up, and through him, the promise continued. Abraham's descendants became numerous, just as God had promised, and they lived in the land God had given them. Abraham's story reminds us that with faith and trust in God, all things are possible. And so, Abraham's journey reminds us that with faith and trust in God, all things are possible. The end.